Every book on habits leaves me wanting more when we talk about the purpose of habits. You see, as a Christian, I know that my life is not ultimately about being more efficient or successful or financially stable or a better communicator. My life is not ultimately about those things. That my life is ultimately about glorifying God. And yet when I read books on habit development, it's void of any of that conversation. It's void of what is my purpose as a Christian and how does that affect habit developments. One of the things that I show you in this book is that when it comes to our habits, we have our Christian identity that informs our habits. What does that mean practically? That efficiency and productivity are not the number one goal, and yet they may be a goal. When I talk about efficiency and productivity, I'm just going to use E and P to explain that. Efficiency, productivity. They are goals. I want to be efficient and I want to be productive. I think you could make an argument for stewardship. I think you could make an argument for wisdom and fruitfulness when we talk about efficiency and productivity. But they're not the number one goal. They're a tertiary goal at best. What's my number one goal? What's the purpose of developing habits? Well, the purpose is that I would glorify God. Habit development is congruent with the rest of my Christian identity, that God has given me a purpose in this life, and it's to glorify Him. And when I develop habits of communication and habits of time management, when I develop habits that correspond to being a better worker in my vocational sphere, something I'll teach you about in Heart and Habits, that is for the glory of God first. But there's a secondary goal. You may be surprised that the secondary goal is still not me. The secondary goal is that I would do good to others. That I'm a better communicator so that I bless those that are around me. That I'm more efficient with my time so that it helps those that I'm working for. It helps my customer. It helps my client. It helps my ministry. It helps my student. As a Christian, I know that efficiency and productivity are important, and I want to accomplish that. But yet I also have to maintain the biblical balance of our purpose and habit development. I have to say that every habit is first of all for the glory of God. And there are things that are for the glory of God that may not be immediately the most productive or seemingly efficient. Can I tell you that there are times when I'm tempted to cut a person off in the middle of their conversation and say, okay, let's get to the point. Just get to the point. I don't need all the details, just get straight to the point. But yet I recognize that I need to be patient and kind and honor this person's perspective. And that me getting directly to the point and moving on to my next task might be what's most efficient right now. I can accomplish more tasks that way. But it may not be what glorifies God and does good to others. When we develop habits, I want us to be people who are highly successful to the glory of God. We're highly efficient to do good to other people. We're highly efficient and productive, and God is glorified and people are blessed in that process. We can't get these out of order. God has given us the biblical priorities of the purpose of habit development. So when we develop good and godly habits, it's for the glory of God, the good of people, and then for our tertiary goals like efficiency, productivity, health, financial well-being, increased relationships, stockpiled retirement, whatever it is that becomes our tertiary goals. We're going to do that with excellence after we've maintained these other two priorities.